Hi, it's Dr. Wendy Walsh, and this is a special bonus episode of Mating Matters. Producer Brooke Peterson and I are busy creating future episodes for you, but I wanted to take a moment to just talk about maybe what you've been hearing so far in Mating Matters. First of all, thank you. We had an amazing launch. As you know, we're a new podcast, and it really means so much to us that you've been sharing us with your friends. And we have a lot of downloads and a lot of listens and a lot of really positive reviews. So thank you for that. I've gotten a lot of emails from some of you, and it really helps me understand my listener more. So thank you. I don't get to respond to every single one of them, but I try my best. And some of you, when you listen to the science of mating strategy, sometimes feel a little offended because this information is a little bit hard to swallow. I want you to know that you're here on the planet today because you descended from a long line of very successful maters. They had great mating strategy. They knew how to pick a mate. They knew how to attract a mate. They knew how to reproduce with that mate. And that's why you're here today. The uncomfortable fact is about 10% of men fail to mate across their entire lifespan. And about 18% of modern women fail to reproduce. I want you to know that if your direct genes don't stay in evolution's chain, they'll still live on through the offspring of your siblings. And there are lots of other ways that people create meaning in their lives besides reproduction. Plenty of people build companies that employ parents. That helps raise families. They create charities to help others. If nothing else, we are a cooperative species. And if you're here in the village with us, you're part of an overall plan of human mating strategy and evolution. Now, the science of human mating strategy might sound really cold and really unromantic, but I want you to know this. We do not choose mates randomly. You know, in the same way how we inherited an undying thirst for salt, sugar, and fat, trace nutrients that were very important in our anthropological past, and for the same reason that we don't eat dirt and we don't eat rocks, in the same way, we're not attracted to unattractive mates. We evolved to be attracted to the highest ranking mate. And when I say highest ranking mate, I don't just mean looks, because men and women choose different things in a mate. This is the work of the guru in research on human mating, Dr. David Buss from the University of Austin, or University of Texas, Austin. There, I got it right. And he's done studies on thousands and thousands of people in over 37 countries with many psychologists cooperating. And what he's found is that there are cross-cultural preferences with the sexes. That means it's not just American culture or French culture or Chinese culture. It's common across the entire species. And here's what Dr. David Buss found, that when women are choosing mates, yes, they choose resources first, because in the vulnerable years of pregnancy and nursing and raising small children, they pretty much needed a dude to bring them back protein. And today it would be nice if he kept a roof over our head and a little bit of food in our fridge, right? Interestingly enough, research even shows that when women make more money than many men, they still expect their mate to make at least as much, if not more. Well, right behind resource potential, women around the world choose intelligence as number 2. A big indicator of intelligence, by the way, is humor. You have to be smart to have the timing, the double entendres, and understand humor. Intelligence tells women that even if his resources go away, even if there's a harsh season, even if the stock market crashes, if the bottom falls out of the real estate market, that he'll be smart enough to figure out another way to help the two of them survive together. And third on women's list around the world is kindness. Because it doesn't matter if you have a rich guy who's super, super smart, but he might be like a domestic violence offender. You know, men are physically stronger than women, and they can actually hurt us. And in the back of every woman's mind, when she assesses a large man is, he's pretty cute. Would he kill me? That's literally on some deep unconscious level what every woman thinks. So kindness is very, very important. Men, on the other hand, no surprise to women listening, tend to choose youth and beauty when they're looking for a mate. This indicates fertility. Now, interestingly enough, because we have such long life expectancies, and people, even the most monogamous of humans, may have 2 or 3 long stints of monogamy in their life, they will enter the mating market and prefer peers because of the same references, the commonalities. Not all men like the youngest women. But if a 50-year-old man likes to date 50-year-old women, you can be assured he's going to look for the youngest and most attractive looking 50-year-old woman, because his brain is tricked into looking for fertility, even though she's not fertile. But the second thing men choose, and this is very important to men, is trust and loyalty. This goes back to our hunter-gatherer past too. Any guy who said, hey, have fun today while I'm out hunting, share your eggs with the tribe, fine, I don't mind. That guy fell out of evolution's chain a long time ago because he ended up supporting some other guy's genes. So guys really care that you're loyal and that they can trust you. And then the third thing that men choose is kindness. It doesn't matter if they marry, say, a supermodel who's stuck to them like glue, if she's absolutely awful to live with and might even treat their offspring terribly, right? So if you heard anything there, it's this. Both sexes prefer kindness, near the top of their list of dozens of things they look for in a mate. Kindness is very, very attractive. But get this, it gets a little complicated. You see, both sexes also want to feel like they're winning a prize. And in order to feel like you're winning a prize, you have to feel like you have to work for something a little bit. And this is when I know some of you may be rolling your eyes and going, ugh, I don't want to play games. I don't want drama. I read this all the time in dating profiles. I don't play games. I don't want drama. Well, it means you don't know the mating game, because it's a really fun game to play. But at the very beginning of mating, both genders have to learn how to play a little bit hard to get, right? Now, in future episodes, I promise to give you lots of advice on how to play that game better. That's why you're listening to Mating Matters, right? Not just for the evolutionary history, but for the real advice you can use. So here's some real advice you can use right now. Let's talk about how you can raise your mate status yourself. Well, first of all, I believe human mating is an inside job. You have to love yourself first, or else no one else is going to buy into it. If you don't love yourself, you'll never really believe it if somebody else loves you. And so doing that personal growth, whether you're reading self-help books, whether you're listening to lots of episodes of Mating Matters, whether you're in psychotherapy, this is the big work of human mating and raising your mate status. The other thing that's attractive to both genders is a sense of self-confidence. You know, just knowing that you're cool and you can do something. And how do you raise your self-confidence? Through mastering something, anything. Take a course, expand your horizon, get good at something, and you'll like yourself better. And that will drift out through your pores to all potential mates. This message is so heavy in our culture, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have to practice good grooming. Look no further than any episode of Queer Eye on Netflix to see that all they do is change hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and they move people's mate status really high. But what is good grooming also an indicator of? It's an indicator of good health. Mates of all genders are really attracted to other healthy people. So diet and exercise is very much part of human mating strategy. You also want to demonstrate to somebody who might be a potential mate that you can give care. You can care for somebody or something. That means keep some other life alive, whether it's a pet, whether it's plants. I personally love landscape architects who can make trees grow with lots of fruit. I really get excited. Whether you're volunteering with various charities, helping out children in poverty or the homeless, show that you care about other life as an indicator that you maybe will care for that mate. And if you're talking about where you're going to meet somebody, it's probably not alone in your car listening to podcasts. It's probably not sitting at home on the internet. It's getting out there and joining groups. Human beings are wired to bond. We're a highly social species. And so I encourage you to get out there, whether you go to meetup.com and find a book group, whether you join a community gardening group, whether you join a wine tasting club, a travel club, whatever it may be. I used to go to cooking school classes, and I loved doing that. And it would end with a meal and a bottle of wine, by the way. It was a lot of fun. So join a club and get out there with people. So human sexual strategy involves 4 things: selecting a mate, attracting a mate, keeping a mate, and deciding when to cut your losses and move back into the mating marketplace. Selecting a mate is, of course, figuring out where you stand in your mate status and who you think you could get based on age, looks, income, all those things. And then competing with other people of the same sex to make sure you look better than them, or you're kinder than them, or you can show you're more loyal than them. Keeping a mate involves mate guarding. And yes, it can be treacherous. An awful way that men mate guard sometimes is to put down their partner so she'll be insecure and not head out into the mating marketplace. If she really knew her value, she might find something better. Remember that all these are largely unconscious decisions. You're on the planet because your ancestors won the mating game. But the way for you to win it, in my opinion, is to expose the game board. Throughout the rest of Mating Matters, I'm going to tell you all kinds of ways that you can raise your mate status. Remember, you come from a long line of ancestors who were really good at human mating strategy. You carry it in your blood. Anyway, I'm having a great time with producer Brooke Peterson making these episodes for you. And I want to thank you so much for listening. We had such a successful launch, and we're going to keep churning away, keep giving you more and more and more as quickly as we can. If you want to keep in touch with me along the way, you can always follow my social media across the board: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It is at Dr. Wendy Walsh. That's at Dr. Wendy Walsh. Brooke Peterson and I have also added a very important piece to our Mating Matters podcast. You. We want to hear from you. And we have created a voice message line. What you can do is call in with any comments about Mating Matters. But more importantly, tell us stories about your life that we might actually use during the podcast. It might give us ideas for future episodes. So talk away. We've got a free message line for you. The number is 323-207-8277. Mating Matters message line, 323-207-8277. And you'll hear Brooke Peterson's voice on the voicemail. Again, thanks for listening to Mating Matters, and I can't wait to bring you more. Mating Matters is produced in partnership with iHeartMedia. It is researched, interviewed, and written by me, Dr. Wendy Walsh, and it is edited and produced by Brooke Peterson. You know, people don't learn about podcasts usually by just searching around. They learn about a podcast because somebody who loved that podcast told them about it. So I encourage you to please subscribe, write a review, and more than anything, hit that share button now. Think of somebody who would like to hear this information as much as you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh.